sets us apart and what really helps this age, the 6, 7, 8, and 9-year-olds in the lower elementary, is that although our classroom is set up by areas, music, math, language, arts, it's not really separated. Our lessons are not really separated by the areas. I think Rainey and my job here, our role here, is to show this age how everything in the universe is intertwined and how everything is interconnected.
We start the year talking about the laws of the universe and how different elements react differently to the laws, but they can't not follow those. And that kind of fits into the classroom too. Every element in nature, every animal, even humans, we all have these things that we have to follow, like gravity, or the fact that when you get hotter you expand, right? These are things that everything has to do, and so that does correlate to every area of the classroom. It pulls everything into it.
Yeah. Today I gave the last great story about math and how the humans needed a way to communicate how much they used. How many deers they saw when they went hunting, how much food they need to feed their village, how many people can fit in a cave. And it was really funny because some people, would make notches on a stick, and some people would use rocks and they would make piles of rocks, but how many rocks can you carry to bring back? Like, I saw 432 deers, look at all the rocks that I carried. And it was just really funny and appealing to the children because they really had to use their imagination to see how the numbers developed from the earliest humans and how we got our numbers now. And it was really cool for them to see that there wasn't one person that really contributed to the numbers that we have now, but there's so many people there in history that we can be so thankful for. We talked about how it would be really hard to do like multiplication problems with Egyptian numerals or Roman numerals.
Which they try. We put a lot of emphasis on innovation and gratitude. The idea that it's not one person who figures something out, and a lot of times we don't even know who the first person to do these incredible things that we take for granted are, and that so many important people in history just get lost because they weren't maybe the last person to do something. They were just all innovating on top of it, and even though we don't know who they are, we can still be grateful that they made that mark on human history, and we still talk about that and how every human is important, even if they're not remembered hundreds of years later.
That also is another great story about how humans are important, because we come with a mind that can reason and think. Other animals have minds, but we have one that can imagine and really reason about why things happen, which is what this age is about. And then we have the heart that loves, and of course they're like, well, my dog loves me, I know my dog loves me, but we have a special kind of love that we can wish people that we've never met before, that they have a nice home and they have food to eat. We can love people we've never met in a different way that the other animals that have come before us. And then of course we have the opposable thumb that helps us to do our work, and we talked about how that freed our hands, and we can, it would be really hard if we had to hold a pencil with our mouth and do our math work or do our biographies.
Carry the backpack in your teeth and hang it up.
Like how we would carry a chair.
The imagination's also really important. This is the first time when they turn 6 that they start asking these big questions, and they actually want to know the answer to these big questions, that they start to reason and imagine in a way that they don't really do before that. And we really try to structure not only the environment of the classroom, but also ourselves and our lessons to really appeal to that sort of emergent mind that starts to, to show itself with us and
be playful with them and have voices and be storytellers and just make it really convincing for them and show them that you are also excited about this work.
Elementary teachers are called storytellers of the truth, which is my favorite line. It's like what we are. That's we turn everything into a story, but we're not fabricating, right? It's all coming from something that is true or could be true. I told a story today about how soap was made, and we don't have documentation of the very first early human to make soap, but we can imagine, because all soap is lye, which is ashes from a fire that are hot, and fat. So we can imagine roasting an animal over a fire, and the fat drips into the ash, and it's kind of gross because it's fat and ash mixed together. And children love that. But then rains come, and the rains wash them into a pool, and then they're swishing clothing in the pool, and all of a sudden those clothes are really, really clean. And so there's this idea that sort of between human innovation and natural errors that happen in chance, and this first soap was made, and then maybe a human saw it and was like, hey, what if we purposefully take some of this ash and this fat and put it together and kind of see what happens? And then, of course, the children want to build a campfire so that we can take the ashes and find some sort of fat and make our own soap in the classroom. So that could happen this week. We'll see. But
Put some butter in.
Yeah, coconut oil maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, that was the first thing afterwards is, can we try this, right? And it was funny because I offered the story to a few people, and only 4 people wanted to come. And by the end, I had like 18 kids around me because I just kept hearing that there was a story happening, and it draws them in like moths to a flame. They love the stories, and so we engage with that often.